So this is a tutorial to show you how to create a set of questions for your QR Scan-venger Hunt. This is just a regular Google form, and I've given it a title, and I've created my first question, which looks exactly like the first question from the shotgun start. So what is your group number? So in this case, students just plug in their group number so that you can track to see who finishes the form first. For example, if you want to give out prizes, it doesn't require students to put in their last names every single time. So this first question, again, is short answer, but the next question I'm going to choose is it's my first content question. So I'm going to pop over here where I already have my content questions written out, and I'm going to copy these just for the sake of time, and I'm going to paste this question in here. So you'll notice this is a multiple choice question, and in fact all of the questions that you create for a QR Scan-venger Hunt have to be multiple choice or it won't work. So here are the different multiple choice options for my students, and where I made this first question a required question, this one will also be required. And just like I did with my shotgun start, I'm going to pop over here to the three little buttons on the right hand side and choose the option go to section based on answer. Okay, so I'm not going to do anything with these different sections right now because I haven't completed all of the sections, but I'll come back to this later. So here's where, just like I did with my shotgun start, I need to create my next question in a separate section. And I do that by going up to the what looks like an equal sign and hit add section. Alright, so I'm going to give it a title, same title I used for the first one, station 3, okay. And then I'm going to create my next multiple choice question. So you can decide how many questions you want to include for each of these forms. I typically do 3 to 4, but you can make it as hard or as easy as you want with more or less questions. So here are my multiple choice options for the second question, and just like I did with the first, I'm going to make this a required question, and I'm going to select go to section based on answer. Okay. Then I'm going to create my third and final content question. This one happens to be about Grant's Farm. And all of these questions I pulled from the website Atlas Obscura, which is a pretty cool website if you haven't visited it. So create a question. And here are multiple choice options. Okay, and just like I did with my first 3 questions, or first 2 questions, this one is required, and I'm going to choose go to section based on answer. Alright, here's where we get a little bit different. I'm going to create 2 new sections, okay, but these are going to differ from the existing 3. This 4th section is going to be called remediation. And what I'm going to do here is tell my students to visit this link for more information before you retry the questions. So what will happen if any of my questions, if any of my groups end up getting a question wrong, I want the form to direct them down to this remediation page where they can read more about whatever they've missed and then go back and retry the questions. So that's something to keep in mind. You have to create a remediation option for each different set of questions. In this case, the remediation that I'm going to choose is actually the website itself for Atlas Obscura. So I'm just going to copy and paste the website, pop back here, but you can make this a website, you can make it a video, you can make it a picture, anything really that works in a form. So then the question that goes along with this is, are you ready to retry the questions? So after they've looked at that link, they can come down here and choose the option yes or choose the option no. Okay. So I don't know why they would choose no, but I have to make this a multiple choice question, so this is what it looks like. I'm not going to require students to answer this question because if they get all of the questions correct, they will never be directed to the remediation page. So don't make this a required question, but you do want to choose go to section based on answer. Okay, so now we can start plugging in where they should be directed depending on their responses. So if they're ready to retry the questions, I'm going to send them back to question number 1, okay, where they go all the way back up to the top and they have to plug in the right answers all over again. So if they choose no, they're going to stay here on the remediation page. Okay, so I'm going to pop back up here to the first question. So this one about Bob Castley, the right answer is City Museum. So all of the other options here should send them to the remediation. Okay, so Lombard Sculpture Park would be remediation. If they answer Magic House, it'll take them to remediation. If they answer correctly, it allows them to continue to the next section. Okay, so let's go to the second question here. The right answer is beer business. So I'm going to leave that one. The rest of them will go to remediation. So the last question here, the last content question, it's a little bit different. So the right answer here is rifle barrels. And instead of continuing to the next section, because this is the last question, you want them to have the option here to submit the form. So make sure your last content question, the correct response allows them to submit the form. The rest of these, as you guessed, will send them to the remediation so they can learn about the right answer. Okay. All right. So lastly here, you'll notice that I created a fifth section and I'm going to leave it untitled. The reason I'm doing that is there's this little glitch in forms. If I don't create an untitled section here, the students in theory can answer this last content question incorrectly and submit the form. So to get around that, all I have to do is create an untitled section at the bottom. It's a weird fluke, but it works. All right, so now all of my response destinations have been selected. I know I've double checked that I'm sending the form or sending the students to the right location. The last thing I have to do here is go up to my settings option, okay, and I'm going over from general to presentation. And normally what happens here is my students see a response. The default response is your response has been recorded. In this case, what I want to do here when they've submitted the form is give them their next clue to send them to their next QR Scan-venger hunt. So you might have seen it in here. What's cooking? Good looking. Okay. And I would want to make sure that this clue right here was in alignment with the clues that I set on the shotgun start. So if this is going to send them to the fourth station, make sure that it's the same clue that sent group 4 to their starting location. So I've got this as my confirmation message. I'm going to hit save. Okay. And last thing I need to do is grab the link for the form and copy so that I can then make this into a QR code. So stay tuned for my next video on how to translate this into a QR code.